When we think about pandemics, we usually picture a disaster movie, right? A frantic race against a fire that's already out of control. But what if we're looking at it all wrong? Today, we're going to explore a completely different idea. That pandemic preparedness isn't about reacting to a catastrophe. It's about deliberately building something, a kind of global immune system, a permanent structure designed to keep all of us safe. And this quote from Bill Gates, man, it just perfectly captures the problem we faced over and over again. Our whole approach has been dangerously reactive. We wait for the crisis to be in full swing, and then we start scrambling. But as we all know, you can't exactly build a parachute when you're already in freefall. Okay, so if our old way of doing things is like jumping out of a plane without a parachute, what does a real one look like? What does a truly prepared system, one that's built, tested, and packed long before you ever get on the plane, actually involve? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this explainer. And we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. First, we need to understand why outbreaks are actually predictable disasters. Then, we'll get into detection. Think of it as the system's early warning nerves. After that, logistics, the muscle that lets us take action. Fourth is science, the intelligence that builds our arsenal of tools. And finally, the big one, global cooperation, the shield that holds it all together. All right, let's dive right into that first big idea, understanding the system failure. In past outbreaks, we've seen incredible, unbelievable heroism from people on the front lines. But the real failure wasn't a lack of heroes. It was the fact that there was no coherent system there to back them up. So the experts had to ask themselves a really tough question. Where did things really fall apart? Was it a failure of science? Did our supply chains just crumble? Was it a lack of leadership? Or was it something deeper, like a total breakdown in coordination? And you know what? A pretty clear consensus started to form. It wasn't any single thing, but a massive failure of connection. Experts pointed out that no one person or group owns the full picture. There was this huge, dangerous gap between knowing what we needed to do and actually doing it fast enough. Our delivery muscle was way too weak, and bad calls from leadership led to critical delays. Basically, we had all the pieces, but no machine to connect them. Okay, so if the problem is a broken machine, how do we start building a better one? Well, that brings us to our second section, detection. If this global immune system is our goal, then detection is its network of sensory nerves. It's about seeing the fire when it's still just a tiny puff of smoke and having a plan ready to go instantly. And this slide really makes that idea concrete. It shows how a fast response isn't about chaos. It's about a calm, practiced procedure. In those first critical 72 hours, a protocol just kicks in. Boom. A local clinic flags something weird. Boom. Genetic data is shared globally in hours. Boom. Pre-trained teams, like a fire department, are already on their way. And, maybe most importantly, a clear, trusted narrative is established. This isn't improvisation. It's a drill we've run 100 times. And that last point about communication, it's absolutely crucial. This quote from journalist Lori Garrett just nails it. In the vacuum of a crisis, misinformation spreads like wildfire. A prepared system knows that clear, honest communication isn't some side project. It's a core part of the containment strategy. Because trust, once you lose it, you can't buy it back. Okay, so you've detected the threat. You know a problem is brewing. Now what? That brings us to our third pillar, logistics. This is the muscle of the response. I mean, having the world's best data is useless if you can't get people and equipment to where they need to be and get them there faster than the virus is spreading. And this right here shows the huge mindset shift we need. Our current supply chains are all about just-in-time efficiency, which makes them incredibly fragile when a crisis hits. A prepared system is the total opposite. It's not designed for efficiency, it's designed for resilience. It has surge capacity baked right in. It's robust, it's proactive, it's built for the storm, not just for the sunny day. The surgeon Atul Gawande puts it perfectly. We tend to think of logistics as this boring background detail, trucks and warehouses. But he says that in an outbreak, logistics becomes the main plot. The entire story, the whole outcome, hinges on whether you can move stuff faster than the pathogen. It's a race, plain and simple, and logistics is how you win it. So we've got the nervous system, detection. We've got the muscles, logistics. Now let's talk about the brains of the operation, our scientific arsenal. This is the part that actually creates the tools, the vaccines, the quick tests, the treatments that give us the power to fight back and win. But this brings up a really tough strategic question, right? If you've got a limited budget before a crisis hits, where do you put your money? Do you bet everything on finding a miracle vaccine? Or is the smarter play to invest in diagnostics or treatments, or just the ability to manufacture things at a massive scale? Well, the answer is you don't pick just one. It's not a menu, it's a chain, and every single link is crucial. Think about it. Rapid tests let you shrink the problem right at the start. Antivirals can buy you precious time. Adaptable vaccine platforms mean you're not starting from absolute zero every time. And manufacturing capacity? That's what turns a discovery in a lab into a solution for the entire world. If any one of those links breaks, the whole chain falls apart. Okay, we've covered a lot. Detection, logistics, science, the core guts of a prepared system. But none of it, and I mean none of it, matters if we don't have our fifth and final element, which is maybe the hardest one of all: cooperation. You can have the best tech in the world, but if countries are working against each other, the virus will always win. This is the global shield that makes everything else work as one. And this slide gets at a really fundamental problem with how we've been doing things. For decades, the first country to report a new outbreak basically gets punished. They get hit with travel bans and their economy suffers. So what's the incentive to be honest and fast? A prepared system flips that logic on its head. It makes transparency the rational choice by rewarding it with immediate support, expert teams, funding, resources. When telling the truth brings help instead of punishment, the entire world is safer. So what does success actually look like on paper? Well, the experts laid out a pretty clear vision. In 10 years, success means we can deploy expert teams in a matter of days. It means we can go from a virus's genetic code to a vaccine candidate almost overnight, using these pre-built platforms. It means we guarantee fair access for everyone, not just the rich countries. And it means we have rules in place to keep critical supplies moving. This isn't a vague wish. It's a clear, actionable definition of what it means to be ready. And this quote from public health expert Devi Sridhar just brings it all home. Viruses don't care about our borders. In fact, they thrive on our divisions. So global cooperation isn't just some nice, fuzzy ideal. It's not charity. When we're facing a shared biological threat, working together is the most rational, most effective form of self-protection we have. So after all of this, what are we really talking about? What is preparedness? It's not about living in fear. It's not about panic. It is, quite simply, the presence of structure. It's a system, just like our fire departments or our clean water systems, that we build and maintain when things are calm. It's public health infrastructure that works so well it saves lives quietly in the background for decades. And that leaves us right here with this final, unavoidable thought. The experts are crystal clear. It's not a matter of if the next outbreak will happen, but when. The pathogen is a certainty. Our preparedness, though, that's a choice. So the only real question left for us to answer is, will we have built the parachute before we have to jump?